Now I know what a lot of you are thinking, wow, you've really run out of ideas. But no, I'm actually doing this video because it's been one of my most requested videos for the past 9 months now. Since I just hit 50k subscribers the other day, I thought it would be a great time to actually make this video. But anyways, Semisolids in Mario Maker 2 are one of my favorite items in the game just because of how much they can add to levels. They can be used as platforms or decoration as backgrounds or other decorative things. These are also one of the very few items that will actually change their appearance depending on what level theme you're in as well. So for example, the 3 Semisolids in Mario World's ground theme are completely different from their castle ones. Each theme allows you to use 3 different Semisolid designs, so today we're going to be ranking all of them from worst to best. The main way I like to use Semisolids are for backgrounds in rooms or as some kind of support, so whichever ones I feel do the best at that will be higher on the list. There are 141 different Semisolids, 33 in Super Mario Bros., Mario Bros. 3 and New Super Mario Bros. U, 32 in Mario World, and 10 in Super Mario 3D World. This list was extremely hard to put together, especially near the middle of it, since I generally do like most Semisolids. I would like to add that I think every single Semisolid can be used well, and pretty much all of my background footage will be taken from levels I feel use them well. When I say something in this video like I don't think this is going to work well, say, as a background, I'm speaking relatively to the other Semisolids. There may be some cases where it does work well as a background. So if I say something like that, it doesn't mean it's impossible, I just think it doesn't work as great as the other Semisolids. Also, all level IDs of the levels I'm playing as background footage will appear in the bottom corner the first time I play them in this video, so if you want to play the levels, you can find them there. This video is just my opinion, so feel free to voice yours in the comments. Also, only a small percentage of people who watch my videos are subscribed, so if you enjoy, consider subscribing as it helps the channel out a ton. But with that being said, let's jump into my longest and most absurd list yet, ranking all 141 Semisolids in Super Mario Maker 2. First, I want to say that all of the 3D World ones get last place. The reason for this is because of just how differently they work from the normal Semisolids in the other 4 main game styles. They do have some cool things, like allowing Cat Mario to climb on them, and, well, yeah, that's just about it. Now, the normal Semisolid in the other theme can't have arrows placed on them, which is annoying, but since it's the only real item there, it's fine. In 3D World, you can't even place doors on it along with some other things like trees and bonsai bills, which is just absolutely ridiculous. You also can't place anything on the top layer of the Semisolid in this game style, which makes it even harder to work with. So while some of these do look fairly nice, their limitations to me make them impossible to place any further than here on the list. So with that said, let's look at how we're going to rank these 10. Well, first, these Semisolids that are kind of like a fence are going to be worse than the 3 solid ones. These are used 7 out of 10 times for the 3D World style, where they are all mostly recolor, so your order will depend on which color combo you like best. For me, I'm putting the underwater one in last at 141, the jungle Semisolid at 140, the airship one at 139, the snow at 138, the sky at 137, the castle at 136, and finally the underground at 135. The other 3 are all much better since they're solid in my opinion and work great for backgrounds. However, again, due to their limitations, they'll have to be this low on the list. Of the 3, I think my least favorite is the desert one, so I'm putting it at 134, then the bookshelves from the ghost house will take 133, and in my opinion, the best 3D World Semisolid is the one in the ground theme. I like the colors here quite a bit, and it of course goes well with the cat suit, so it'll take number 132. Alright, so now that we got kind of the outlier Semisolids out of the way, let's get into the 131 Semisolids in the 4 main styles. To me, the best ones can be used for backgrounds, platforms, or other decorations. Well, I think the worst set of Semisolids in the main themes are, kind of funnily enough, the semi-3D ones. These are Semisolids in Mario Bros. 3 that try to look 3D instead of just being a flat image. I'm just really not a fan of these at all because they just do not look good at all in my opinion. There are 6 Semisolids like this, and I'll be putting the first variant of each of these lower, so the desert one takes 131, then the airship at 130, then the castle at 129. The reason I'm placing these lower than the other variants is because these are pretty much the exact same color as their normal flat versions, making them practically useless. Since you can cover up the edges, you can kind of get a different color background with the other ones, they're just not that helpful. So since the other ones are lighter, I decided to rank them a bit higher, so the desert one will take 128, the airship one will take 127, and finally the castle one will take 126. So with those out of the way, you could say that all 16 3D Semisolids are finally finished. I'm just really not a fan of how these look at all, but let's get into our next set. Next up we have all 3 of the underground Semisolids in Super Mario Bros. 3. All of these just don't really look right to me and are really hard to work with for any sort of design. Sure, some of these can of course look good in the right hands, but to me, they're just not very helpful. Even the one that can actually be used as a background doesn't even work particularly great in my opinion. Now, I am willing to admit this may be due to me not really liking Mario 3's art style on most themes, especially Underground since they cut this way better looking orange version from the final game. But yes, I'm going to be putting this one at 125, this background one at 124, and this last one will take 123. Again, I do think that these can be useful, I just don't think they're as useful as the other semisolids on the list. Okay, now we got one that doesn't really fit in a set like we've had so far, being our first new Super Mario Bros. One, being this sort of vine design in the ground theme. This just by itself doesn't look good at all, but additionally, it absolutely does not fit at all in the ground theme. I never liked how this semisolid looked at all, even back in Mario Maker 1. Now, there is a different variant of this in the forest theme, however there it actually fits, and thus it will appear later on this list, while here, it just looks completely ugly, pointless, and out of place. I feel like this may have been included in Mario Maker 1 to maybe make up for no forest theme, but they just never removed it. So for looking very ugly, it takes number 122. Next we got ourselves our first two Mario 1 semisolids, being the seaweed ones in the jungle and underwater themes. Now some of you may be wondering why I decided to rank these separately despite them being very similar semisolids, so let me explain how I determined what counted as a new semisolid on the list. If the item's look in the hotbar changes when switching theme, game style, or time, then it's different, and yep, these do change. Like the vines, I don't really think these are that good looking. They do at least fit in the theme that they're in though, which is why they're higher than the Mario U vines, however they still don't look great. Since I like jungle levels better than underwater levels, I guess that was really the main deciding factor here, so I decided to put the underwater seaweed at 121, and the jungle seaweed at 120. We've got our first Mario World semisolid next, which is the weird one in the underground. This is just a way worse split up version of this one, meaning that there's almost never a reason to use this over that, giving it 119. Next up are all of the Mario 3 jungle semisolids. My thoughts on these are all pretty similar to the underground ones, however I do like the colors on these ones a bit better here. This jungle theme is one of the ugliest in the game though in my opinion, which certainly doesn't help, but still these aren't absolutely horrible, giving the second one 118, this one at 117, and finally this one gets 116. Like the seaweed we saw earlier, we have the other two similar semisolids in the Mario jungle and underwater themes. This one is actually solid, which means it can actually be used as a background. It's just that to me, this color does not work as a background that great, so again, I'm placing them quite low on the list, with the jungle one at 115, since I think the green color fits better with the underwater at 114. Next we have our first semisolids that will actually change depending on the time of day. Those being the semisolids from the new Super Mario Bros. Snow theme. Now since the snow theme's main nighttime mechanic is making all of the surfaces more slippery, all the snow semisolids in every game style actually have night variations. Well, except in 3D World of course, but it's always day there. This one is our first, and this always looked weird to me. The way it's split up just doesn't seem right, and I have a harder time using this than all the other ones in this theme. So for being quite strange, the daytime variant will take 113, and the nighttime variant will take 112, since I like its colors a slight bit better. Next is another Mario U semisolid, being the coral. This one is okay as a platform and doesn't work great as a background, so it'll take 111. Like the coral, the vines in the Mario U jungle don't work as a background, but can actually nichely be used since they're in a theme that actually fits them this time in the jungle, so it'll take number 110. From now on, I believe all the semisolids are at the very least fairly decent. Starting with the three tree semisolids from the Mario 1 theme in the ground, snow day, and snow night. While these don't work as backgrounds, these each have their more niche uses as general platforms. As for my ranking of them, I think I like the ground color the least, so of the three, it'll take number 109. Then I'll give 108 to the daytime variant of the snow one, since I do like its gray color a lot. However, I think I like the night snow's light blue color a bit better, giving it 107. These next two semisolids in the new Super Mario Bros. Desert used to be some of my most disliked. Now at first glance, these look pretty good, but then you look at the edges and... these edges look horrible. I can't think of any good reason why they're like this. It doesn't look good in the slightest. Now you may be wondering why these are so high on the list. Well, that's because the edges are covered up and these actually look quite nice. Still though, I can't put them any higher than this just because of how awful the edges are. These two are pretty much tied, but I gave the third one 106 and the second one 105. Next we have the only semisolid on the list that isn't found in the snow theme that will actually change during the nighttime, being this one from Mario 1's airship. I'm not a fan of the red airship theme that much, and that's the change that this semisolid has. Instead of the top being black, it's now red. The center part of this semi-solid is still okay, however this is our first semi-solid where, if stretched out, it gets way too many windows to the point where it's distracting. We'll see many more like this later, but for now this semi-solid will take 104 for having a bad top but a decent center. Now we're the two gem semi-solids in the Mario U Underground theme. These can work as backgrounds, however to me they're a bit too bright to be used in anything besides a small bonus room. As platforms they work, but the third semi-solid in this theme works way better than these two. So while I do think they're a bit too bright, they still have some niche uses, so the green one will take 103 for being a bit brighter than the pink one at 102. Oh yeah, these also have a stray pixel off to the left as well, which once you see you can never unsee and will permanently annoy me. Well, it's been quite a while since our last Mario World semi-solid, so let's get ourselves another one. This one is a split up tree in the forest theme. Now I think it's pretty obvious that I love the Mario World art style, especially considering how few we've seen so far. I do love the colors of the semi-solid a lot, however the split up design just does not work and looks far too cramped. Since the trees are just too close together, this will have to take 101. We're starting off the top 100 with the final Mario 1 underwater semi-solid. This is our first one like this on the list, where it's made up of blocks like the ground, which I really like. It's especially good since these semi-solids perfectly transition into another one, which is pretty important for larger rooms. Many other semi-solids have lines to separate one from another, which is annoying, so when semi-solids like this don't have them, it's very good. The reason this is so low on the list despite all of its good attributes is that I don't like its design all too much, and its background is just too close to the normal background to really be anything too special, so it'll take number 100. Mario U's bush semi-solid for me is just a bit much. It doesn't really work great as background and is much better as platforms and decoration. To me though, it seems like there's just far too much on this semi-solid and I can't really explain it, but I just don't really like how it looks. Also, we can't turn this into Luigi like in Luigi U. Well, you can try, but... So that made this lose like a billion points, putting this at 99. Next we have a sort of cage semi-solid in the Mario World Castle. This one can be helpful as a platform, though as a background it just doesn't work. It's still solid enough, though not great, so it gets 98. Like the last one, the rope semi-solid in the Mario U airship doesn't work at all as a background, but works decently as a platform. I do think this one works with its theme a slight tiny bit better, so I decided to place it higher at 97. Now we've got two more tree semi-solids like the three we got from Mario 1 we saw earlier, which I believe start the good semi-solids instead of just the okay ones. This time it's Mario World's ground and forest trees. These look pretty perfect for platforms for their respective themes, and the only thing holding them back is of course they don't really work great as backgrounds. Still though, these are pretty good, so I'm going to be giving the ground one 96 since I feel it's a slight bit less useful than the forest one at 95. Let's head on to the Mario 3 underwater semi-solids. These are similar to their full color semi-solids in its ground theme. These have a bit of texture to them though as well, and I feel like these do work decently as underwater platforms. However, underwater levels are hard to use semi-solids to great effect. This ranking is based on which colors you like better, but I'm placing the blue one at 94, the gray one at 93, and finally the white one at 92. Moving from the Mario 3 underwater semi-solids to the rest of the Mario U underwater semi-solids. These are really neat as they're sort of like a sunken ship, which reminds me a lot of the Jolly Roger base ship from Mario 64. These work great then as backgrounds for a sort of sunken ship, however, and this is really the only thing holding them back, they don't really have any other items to help sell a sunken ship level. Additionally, it'd be really nice if they weren't stuck underwater and you could maybe have them be above water as well. Still though, these are both pretty good, but can't live up to their full potential in my opinion. They're both pretty equal, so I'm putting the first one at 91 and the second one at 90. Our next one is our final underwater one for a bit, I promise, and it's the coral from Mario World. This works amazingly as a platform, however, I think the mushroom platforms are actually a bit better, which is what is holding this one back from being higher. Since this also doesn't have any background potential, it'll take 89. These Mario 1 pillars can be helpful for support, however, I feel it's only okay giving it 88. This pillar semi-solid in the Mario 3 Sky theme is very interesting, as I feel like it's a pretty unique one. Most semi-solids in their smallest form don't have one sort of pillar hanging down, which means that this can be used similarly to mushroom platforms in its design. When stretched out though, the pillars do get a bit too much, however, for its still pretty solid base form, I'm gonna give this 87. The rope in the Mario World airship works pretty well in my opinion. I think its color scheme and design looks the best and works the best with its airship, so I decided to give it 86 for being a good platform. Our next two are the Mario U Sky themed ones. These are very unique as they're see-through, which makes them very interesting. I at first didn't like these much, however they have definitely grown on me quite a bit. They work fairly well as platforms, and if used as backgrounds, they can make the sky look like a different color. I've actually gotten a lot of people asking me about how I did this in previous videos, so yes, this is how I made the sky look different. You can also combine these on top of each other, unlike many other semisolids, to create different colors. The only reason they're this slow is because they're by themselves without any form of opaque semisolid. This makes it a lot harder to make backgrounds for rooms in this theme. Still though, I like them a lot, so I'm putting the yellow one at 85, the green one at 84, and finally the red one at 83. This tree, I think, for the Mario 1 Underground works solidly as a background. This color is a bit too close to the main ground color though, but it still works great. The only bad thing about this is that I don't really think it works that great as a platform. I don't know, just seeing this tree thing in the underground is just a bit weird. However, its background is still solid, so I gave it 82. Now we've got ourselves another tree that actually looks like one in the Mario 1 style. This is actually our first semisolid to be in two themes at once, which is super lazy. It's in the main ground obviously, but also in the sky theme, which just doesn't make any sense. I mean, it doesn't fit there at all. It was really just the excuse to not have to make another semisolid, which is just super disappointing. Like the underground one, this one works good as a background, however I feel this does actually work decently as a platform as well, so that boosted this to 81, even though it is a pretty lazy semisolid in the sky theme. Alright, we've got our last two Mario 1 trees now being the Snow Day and Snow Night ones. These to me work best as backgrounds and platforms and also have the benefit of not being lazy. Well, I guess you could argue a recolor is lazy, but at least it's not just a copy and paste. I'm putting this Snow Night one at 80 since, while I like this light blue, the gray of the Snow Day one at 79 is just great for what it is. The sort of castle-like semisolid in the Mario 1 sky is up next. This one is very good for, as I said, making castle structures. This one can really spruce up and make a level fairly unique. However, this does have a major downside. These windows... These windows are just way too frequent. They single-handedly ruin the semisolid for making a background as they just get way too distracting. These windows do work for making castles, but it makes me really sad that making backgrounds with this nice design is pretty impossible, so I'm putting this at 78. Another similar one to the last one is from the Mario U airship. This one's windows are also absurdly abundant, however this one isn't nearly as bad as the previous one in my opinion, making this work better as a background. This also works much better as a platform to me since the top is flat. This is pretty much tied with the last one, but the slightly less annoying windows move this up to 77. This Mario U Jungle one works very well as a platform, and I'd even say maybe even a bit better than Bridges in that theme. This one doesn't work at all as a background, but as a platform, this absolutely is great, giving it 76. Even though they aren't particularly similar, I feel like they're close enough to cover at the same time, being the first Snow Day Mario U one, and the Cloud semi-solid in Mario 3 Sky. They both, to me, work pretty equally as both solid backgrounds and pretty good platforms. They've both got decently similar colors, so I think these two are about equal. I'm placing the Snow Day one at 75, and the Mario 3 Sky one at 74, since I do think it's got a slight edge platform-wise, but they're quite close. The Rainbow in Mario World is a very unique semi-solid. This is because it's really the only one that has stuff on the edges, which makes this, to me, a very good platform. This also works really great when combined with pipes, as it looks like they're leaving the pipe, and this looks really nice and colorful. Obviously though, this doesn't work literally at all as a background unless you combine a bunch of them together, which after a while will just stop working. Still though, for being a very unique one, and for being a great platform, it takes 73. We've got ourselves another pillar-based semisolid in Mario World's Underwater one. I really like this design, and this works best as platforms. However, it's underwater, and platforms don't really work great there. If this was recolored and placed in some other theme, this would likely be higher, but unfortunately, it will have to take this spot at 72. Next, we've got the daytime variant of the second semisolid in the Mario 1 airship. This is another one with the window problem, however, it's significantly less of an issue here, especially if you keep the semisolid pretty short. The black top is absolutely a massive improvement over the red one which we saw earlier, which is why I decided to put it all the way up at 71. Another one of the Mario 1 airship semisolids is up now. This one works very well as support for a ceiling and excellent as a platform as well. While yes, this doesn't work great as a background, pretty much everything else about it works fairly well in my opinion, giving it 70. Next is a pretty interesting one, being the windows in the Mario 3's Ghost House. The reason this one is interesting is because it's really just the windows and the platform on top, since it blends in with the background. Personally, I like this quite a bit as it can be used well for decorations and even floating platforms. This one looks horrible as a background, though it does a great job at its purpose of just being windows, except in the nighttime variant since the background isn't a solid black and so the semi-solid will stick out a good amount. That does bring it down a bit, but it's still solid, giving it 69. Well, now we're just about over halfway through the list, so let's keep on going here. This next one is genuinely heartbreaking. This Mario World Underwater Semi-Solid looks so good, like it was top tier. But then it fell to the window curse. If this didn't have windows, this would easily be in the perfect tier, but these windows, unfortunately, are just too much for me to put any higher than 68. The Mario 3 Airship and Castle Semi-Solids that aren't 3D are both recolors of each other. These both don't really excel at any one thing, but are both pretty solid at being backgrounds and platforms. Also, as I said, these aren't pseudo 3D, and we know that the 2D ones are much better, so I'm putting the Airship one at 67 and the Castle one at 66, since I think the color scheme works a bit better here. Next we have another great semi-solid ruined by too many windows. Again, these aren't as bad as some of the others, but come on, this color scheme and design is so good, but the windows are just too much to the point I can only put it at 65. Next we have the day and nighttime variants of the sort of tree thing in Mario World Snow theme. Now this has all the advantages of the other sort of tree ones, working as a good platform and such. However, this one has a bit of an extra utility, as you can hang them from the ceiling and they sort of look like icicles, which is honestly pretty cool, so that brought them up here. The day one will be at 64, since I think the icicle aesthetic works a bit better with the bluer nighttime one at 63, though they're pretty similar. Now we've got the three sort of mushroom semi-solids in Mario World. These are the ones found in the ground theme, the snow day, and the snow night. Additionally, this is our second and final copy and paste semi-solid, as the ground one is also in the sky. This one does make more sense than the other copy and paste one, however, yeah, it's still really lazy and is actually the reason Mario World is less semi-solids than the other themes, since Mario 1 actually had the nighttime airship one to make up for the copy and paste one it had. Well, anyways, back to my thoughts. Each of these work fairly decently as both platforms and colorful backgrounds. This was pretty hard to decide since I like these all pretty equally, but I'm deciding to put the snow day one at 62, the snow night one at 61, and finally the ground and sky one at 60, since I like the colors here better and I think they're better for making colorful rooms. Alright, now we've got the 10 Super Mario Bros. 3 semi-solids that are all pretty much just solid colors, which will start off our great semi-solids. I like these a great deal and they all work great for backgrounds and good as platforms. Now since these 10 basically all simply come down to which color I like better, I'm just going to run through these very quick. So then, the blue snow day takes 59, blue takes 58, blue snow night takes 57, beige snow day takes 56, beige takes 55, beige snow night takes 54, the one in the desert takes 53, the white snow day takes 52, the white snow night takes 51, and finally the normal white one will kick off the top 50. The last one is very interesting as it has a unique mechanic to it that when Mario ducks on it for a few seconds, you'll actually do a short hop. This is a reference to how Mario could duck on these to go into the backgrounds in Mario 3 for secrets. This is a really cool thing to include, which is why I decided to put this at the top of the colored boxes, even though white is still my favorite regardless. Our next set of semi-solids are all bone semi-solids. These were great as platforms, supports, and even hanging from the ceiling like the Mario World tree ones I mentioned earlier. These are again pretty determined by their color scheme and theme they're in. I think the desert one is the worst of the 5, taking 49. The underground one from Mario 1 is next at 48. The castle in Mario 1 is at 47. The Mario U castle is in my opinion a slight bit better, taking 46. And finally, the best bone one in my opinion is the Mario World Underground one at 45. The last one is a bit different design-wise, though I like its design a bit better than the other bone ones. Wait a minute. Bone semi-solids. Bones. Dry bones. Next we have a lot of semi-solids that don't work as backgrounds, but work great as platforms and supports for ceilings and such. These all have pretty much the same uses, so this comes down a lot to personal opinion, so my ranking of this set of 6 is the Mario World Castle one at 44, the Mario 1 Desert at 43, then we have the two of the most similar semi-solids in the game being the Mario U Ghost House and Underground. These do change the icons, so they are in fact different, and I really like them, so the Underground one will take 42 and the Ghost House one will take 41. And the final 3 support ones for now are the Mario 1 Castle at 40, the Mario 1 Ghost House at 39, and finally the Mario U Castle at 38. Like I said, these are great for platforms and support, but not really too helpful making backgrounds. Now we've got a bunch of semi-solids that aren't really in easy groups, which makes it a lot harder for me to edit and write for. Hooray! Anyways, the final Mario World Underground one is up now. This color and design works very well as a background. It's okay as a platform though, really its main purpose is being a background, which I feel it does a good job on, giving it 37. Our next one is the Mario 1 Desert one, and while yes, this one does have a lot of windows, since they're a very similar color to the actual background, it's actually not very distracting at all. This color scheme and design is great, so while the windows bring it down a very slight bit, it's nothing major, so it takes 36. The last Mario World Sky one is very interesting. This white color is very pleasant for backgrounds, and I absolutely love using it. The only bad thing keeping this from being higher is the top of this semi-solid is super weird to me. I always feel like the semi-solid is a block shorter than it actually is because standing on this part to me just looks really weird. So to me it just doesn't make a good platform, but since its color is just so good, it'll take 35 regardless. Next we've got the two support semi-solids in Mario 3 and World's Ghost Houses. I just feel that these are so good that I decided to move these up higher. These work excellently as both platforms and support. I've decided to place the Mario World one at 34, and the Mario 3 one at 33. Next we have the castle version of the desert semi-solid we saw from Mario 1 earlier. The same points apply here with the windows and such, however I feel like this color is way better and works with its theme a slight bit better as well, which is why I place it significantly higher at 32. The next one is another one of the Mario 1's sort of faded block semi-solids. The last time we saw one of these was the underwater one, however we have many more coming as the rest are all pretty great. Like I said before, they work great as backgrounds, especially since their transitions are perfect, and they work pretty good as platforms. The reason that this is lower than the other ones is just because I don't like the block design as much as the classic ground design, so it'll take 31. The classic Mario U ground semi-solid is up now, and yeah, this one works pretty great as both a background and platform. This is a pretty good one and is probably the face of the semi-solids, which I think this one works well for, so it'll take number 30. The Snow Knight variant of this semi-solid for Mario U is up now. While I don't necessarily think it works as well as a platform as the last one, I definitely think this is a cooler and nicer looking background, so I decided to give it 29. This Mario 1 Ghost House one looks great as a background, and while yes, this one does have a bit of a window problem, it's again not that much of an issue like the other high tier window ones, giving it 28. This crate here in the Mario World airship is another one that works great as a background and pretty good as a platform. This goes pretty well with this airship's color scheme, so it'll take number 27. Like the last one, this one works great as a wall background inside the Mario World castle. This is of course pretty essential since many boss fights take place inside separate rooms which need backgrounds. This color scheme is pretty solid, and while it's really only okay as a platform, its background abilities are just so good that it will take number 26. For the same exact reasons as the Mario World crate, the Mario U crate from the airship is up here, though I think this one does just look a bit better, so it gets number 25. We've reached the final two Mario 3 semi-solids on the list, which will kick off what I believe to be the near-perfect semi-solids. These are this one from the Ghost House and this one from the Sky. These both work absolutely perfectly as backgrounds for their respective themes and work fairly well as platforms as well. It was hard to decide, but I'm putting the Ghost House semi-solid at 24 and the Sky one at 23 as the best Mario 3 semi-solid in the game. The Mario Underground Faded Block Semi-Solid is just like the previous choices like it, where it works and transitions perfectly as a background and works alright as a platform. The only reason it isn't higher is because the color is a bit close to the normal color of the background, but it's still great to give it 22. Like the other airship crates, the one for Mario 1 is a perfect background and the platform for the theme. However, I just like its design a bit better than the other ones, and it transitions perfectly as well, giving it 21. This one from the Mario U Desert is a very nice solid color and doesn't have the, well, issues that the other two in this style had, which makes it a great background and platform, easily putting this at number 20. Now here's something interesting. Despite not being really similar at all, the three Mario World Desert semi-solids are all back to back here. These are all incredible and work perfectly in their theme. I decided to put this one at 19 since it's the only one that doesn't work as a background, but man, this may be the best purely platform semi-solid in the game. The other two are both great for selling the kind of mix between the desert and mountain theme that Mario World decided to go with. They're both very distinct from each other and go great with the desert assets as both backgrounds and platforms. They're pretty much tied, but I'm putting the sand one at 18 and this cool gray one at 17. The Mario World Desert may have the best overall semi-solids of any theme in the game. This one in the Mario U Jungle theme may surprise some of you, but to me, this works quite literally perfect here, as it really allows for some amazing background potential. On top of that, while it isn't perfect, you can hardly notice the transition, allowing this to easily make up larger spaces. Its color scheme is good along with its design, so I have to give it number 16. Now we have two which are night and day variants of this one from the Mario U Snow theme. Like the last one, these work really well as backgrounds. To me though, these work even better than the last one, even though the transitions aren't as smooth. This one's color is just perfect for a background in sort of an ice cave level, so I'm going to give the night variant 15, since I like the top a bit less than the snow day variant at 14. The Mario World's Forest Final Semi-Solid is another one that looks absolutely perfect as a background. This is great for making levels really feel like they're taking place inside some sort of tree, or at least some rooms do. The transitions could be a slight bit better, but its design is just too perfect, giving it 13. Our next two are both wooded ghost house semi-solids found in Mario U and Mario 1. Like the others in this tier, as a background they're perfect, and also they work fairly well as platforms as well. I'm putting the Mario U one at 12 since I feel like its transitions and colors are a slight tiny bit worse than the Mario 1's flawless transitions and great colors, giving it 11. We have at long last made it to the top 10 Semisolids. Without further ado, let's finish this thing. Our first two are both from Mario World's Ghost House, however they're fairly different, so I'll go through them separately. This first one is an absolute perfect background for a ghost house, especially in Mario World's interpretation of it. The windows on this one are also a completely non-problem, as they're, instead of being sort of a checkerboard, they're more like all right next to each other, which makes this look very pleasing. Additionally, this one works great as a platform, giving this number 10. The other one is super different and is probably the most distinct from its theme Semisolid in the whole game, which surprisingly really works. This purple somehow goes extremely well with the ghost house and is one of the best and most unique Semisolid backgrounds you can have in a room for your level. It's really a shame that not many other Semisolids took a risk like this one did, as I feel like most themes played it quite safe, which of course is fine, but maybe we could have missed out on some more excellent ones like this, which takes number 9. This castle background is, in my opinion, the best a castle one could be. It's dark and goes great with the general tile set, it works perfect as a backdrop to a boss fight, and it also works pretty well as a platform. All of this brings it up to number 8. We finally got ourselves another night and day one with this one from Mario World. This is absolutely phenomenal for platforms, and even more so for backgrounds. These would easily have been in the top 3 had their transitions just been a bit smoother. I'm putting the night one at 7, as I feel like the gray of the day one at 6 goes a bit better with its tile set. This Semisolid by itself was really my main inspiration of my Ice Cavern level I made a while back, which just goes to show how good these Semisolids are. Cracking off our top 5 with our final Mario U Semisolid being this one from the Ghost House. This plain gray just goes great with any room you want to make. Heck, while the transitions aren't great, they actually aren't too bad since it's kind of like a crack in the wall that runs all the way down. Looking past the transitions though, man, this one just looks good. I don't have much more to say other than it takes number 5. Next we have our final Night Day Semisolid set being this one from the Mario 1 theme. I'm not going to talk about these ones for too long, as my thoughts on these are the exact same as my last Mario World one, except this one fixes the one issue I had with that being the transitions are now flawless. So it's pretty easy to put the nighttime variant at number 4 and the daytime variant at number 3. Our final Mario World Semisolid is the original version of the snow one I mentioned earlier, and while yes, this still has the transition issue, I think this color is literally perfect for this theme to make small encased areas. I don't think there's any better color or design that could have been chosen. On top of that, I feel like this one works better as a general platform as well than the snow ones I mentioned earlier, so that made me decide to give it the runner-up spot at number 2. But easily, my favorite Semisolid in Mario Maker 2 is this one from the Mario 1 ground theme. I knew where this one was going to go before even working on this video at all, but seriously, it's the perfect Semisolid. Its faded block design is great, the color is perfect for Mario 1's ground theme to make separate areas, it works great as a platform, heck it even works great as just simply other decoration like replacing some blocks in the ground with it. Like the others similar to this, it transitions perfectly as well, meaning that you could pretty much have as much horizontal distance as you could want. I love this Semisolid so much that even if it's not your favorite, I really feel like it's at minimum a top 10 Semisolid. But yes, for being perfect in every single way in my opinion, this Semisolid will take number 1 on the list. But anyways, that's it for this incredibly long video. I really hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope it lived up to some of your expectations as well, seeing as it took a while for me to make. Make sure to leave your own thoughts in the comments down below. I'm quite curious to hear what many of you think, because for me personally, I had to move a lot of these quite a bit on this list, since I feel like a lot of them are pretty great. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like, maybe even subscribe for more on Super Mario Maker 2 and anything else Nintendo Switch. Links to my Twitter, Discord, and Mario Maker ID are all in the description. Thank you all so much for 50k subscribers, and I really hope you all enjoyed this video, but I'll see you guys next time. Bye.